What was ruined because too many people started doing it? I moved into an apartment complex right next to a university, which was a big change from where I grew up. I'm originally from a more rural area, where bonfires were a common part of life. They were simple, relaxing gatherings, friends sitting around a fire, sharing stories, roasting marshmallows, and just enjoying the night. When I moved here, I missed that sense of community and the calm that came with it. My apartment complex had a little fire pit in a common area, which wasn't used much at first. I saw it as an opportunity to bring a bit of that old vibe back. So, I bought some firewood and a few friends over for a small fire. We'd gather around, keep things low-key, and just hang out. No loud music, no crazy drinking, just the warmth of the fire and good company. We always cleaned up after ourselves, made sure the fire was properly out before leaving, and respected the neighbors. For a while, it was exactly what I wanted, a little pocket of peace in the middle of a bustling university town. My neighbors started noticing. At first, they'd peek over and smile or ask what was going on. Then, some started joining in with their own firewood, and the fire pit slowly became a spot people wanted to use. I was happy to share the experience. It felt like I'd brought a piece of my old home into this new place. But as more people caught on, the vibe began to change. What started as a few quiet gatherings became more frequent. Every weekend, there was someone lighting up the fire pit. Groups grew larger, and it didn't feel quite as peaceful anymore. People would show up with coolers full of beer, music got louder, and the occasional shouting matches or arguments broke out. It was still mostly contained, but the atmosphere was no longer the calm retreat I'd enjoyed. Trash started to pile up. At first, it was just a few cigarette butts or napkins left behind, but it escalated. Beer bottles and cans were tossed into the ashes of the fire pit. Plastic cups, food wrappers, and broken glass cluttered the ground around the area. Sometimes furniture from the apartments, old chairs, small tables, would be dragged outside and tossed into the fire. It wasn't just the mess. It was the disregard for the space itself. The fire pit wasn't just a gathering spot anymore. It was a place for parties. The worst part was the noise. The fire pit was close enough to the apartments that when people got loud, it echoed through the complex. Neighbors who once smiled and nodded became frustrated and angry. Complaints piled up at the leasing office. The police were called more than once. Sometimes the parties got so out of hand that officers showed up to break them up. I watched as what I'd started with good intentions spiraled out of control. The people who came to the fire pit after me weren't interested in the same calm, respectful experience. It became a rowdy hotspot for weekend parties, fueled by alcohol and poor judgment. One night, the fire pit became the center of a big party that lasted into the early morning. Furniture was burned in the fire, bottles smashed everywhere, and the noise level was unbearable. Neighbors called the police multiple times. The leasing office finally had enough. They put a stop to it by filling in the fire pit entirely. The metal ring was removed, and the pit was replaced with plain dirt and gravel. There was no warning, no discussion, just a decision made to end the chaos. Now, the spot where those quiet nights around the fire once were is empty. The sense of community I'd hoped to revive has been lost. The mess and the noise became too much, and the simple joy of a fire pit was ruined because too many people started using it in the wrong way. I still miss those early nights, sitting around the fire with friends, the crackling flames, and calm conversations. But those memories are all that's left, because the fire pit that once brought people together now lies buried under gravel and silence.